Hello everyone, this is Jorge Gonzalez, real estate agent, public speaker, and author of the book called Answer the Call, here with my great friend.
I'm Elle, coach and real estate agent. And actually I'm a relationship coach.
She is a relationship coach. This is gonna be good. So we actually met a few weeks ago during one of my open houses, and she told me she was a relationship coach. And I told her that I was an author of a book called Answer the Call, and we've had some amazing conversations about relationships, and we're gonna share some of those conversations with you today. So basically, what got you into being a relationship coach?
Interesting questions. So what happened was I was in a 10-year relationship, and I started noticing that it's not working out. It's not exactly what I want. And I took a 3-day course through Catherine Woodward Thomas. It's called Calling in the One. She wrote 2 books, Calling in the One and Conscious Uncoupling. So I took the class. At the end of the class, I realized, oh my God, I understand what I have done wrong in this relationship. So then I got involved. I took the course, and then I became a conscious uncoupling coach. And then after that, a year later, I became a Calling the One coach. So this has been, I think, 3-4 years ago. So now and prior to that, I was a commercial real estate agent, which I still am. Mm-hmm. And I coach people for their relationships.
That's amazing. See, this is why we're doing this video, because I've actually learned a thing or two about relationships too, since I've been single for the most part for the last 11 years. So I've actually took a lot of content. I learned from a lot of individuals out there and YouTube and social media, stuff like that. So the conversation that we had they were just amazing conversations. We have a lot of similarities on our past relationships. I also now realize where I went wrong, but I also realize now where it wasn't my fault, where I actually blame myself, because sometimes it's not even us that are the problem or are initiating these things that we are accused of. It's the other person. And some people call them narcissists. That's what I call them now. But sometimes I call them crazy, loonies, because I mean, they blame it on the good guy, on the good woman, when it's not our fault. So the conversations that we've had, we don't see eye to eye, but we have differences of opinion, but we're trying to reach the same goal, which just means we want people to have successful relationships, and not just in relationships, but also in business.
Yes, I realized that, and our conversation was about how any kind of relationship in life will help you also build a successful business. If your relationships in office or in the business interactions are not healthy, then at the end of the day, you're not going to be successful. So even if you're at home, you don't have a happy relationship, then you bring it to your office. Or if you're at office, you don't have a healthy relationship, you bring it to home. So my goal is to help my clients to have that balance, that they will know exactly what their needs are, what they're feeling, and be very expressive, communicative to their partner. It can be business partner, it can be
exactly
love relationship partner, any kind of partnership.
And I was saying the same thing, because I would say too that if you are a good husband, a good father, a good brother, that means those things are all connected. You can't have one without the other. So when we had this conversation and she said that, even though we're thinking about it the same way, but we talk about it in different terms, but it's the same thing. A relationship, if you lack a relationship expertise in a certain area, you're gonna lack it in the other area too. And this is what we're talking about. So we have to make sure that our relationships are solid in business and personal. If one of them is messed up, that means the other one is lagging behind it too. So we have to make sure that we have great relationships. That's what we should be striving for. Now, when it comes to relationships, you know, I say that as a person, as a man, I call myself an alpha male, right? And a lot of people haven't maybe not heard that term. And also the feminine and the masculine. We have to know our places in the relationship. And it's not that one person is more than the other. It's just that we need to know our position in the relationship and who's going to carry us forward and who's going to build the home and really have this tight relationship with us as a unit. What do you think about that subject?
I think that, the foundation of each, or what the relationship is based on, if you know yourself. So, as an example, in that relationship, I really didn't know myself to the extent of knowing, okay, this is what I want, this is how I feel, and these are my needs.
Yeah.
And the second part was when I didn't know about it, then I couldn't even communicate it to my partner.
Yeah.
And it can be the business. I had successful businesses in the past, and they all went up and down, and it's all because of not being able to communicate my needs and the feelings.
Yeah.
So.
And to me, I've had the same problem myself, is that because I'm such a giver, I assumed that my partners, my friendships knew, because I gave so much, that they should give back in return. But I thought they would understand and catch on. Okay, well, if George is giving me so much, maybe I should give him too. But they didn't. But sometimes we think about it's like, well, you expected too much. No, I gave a lot and I didn't even give a fraction back in return. And that's when the relationships, for me, they start to break apart. And when I no longer tolerate it, I just cut people off. I'm really cutthroat. Which it could be a good thing because you protect yourself, but it's a bad thing because, first of all, you never communicated it, and you never even gave them a chance to fix it.
Exactly.
If they were willing to fix it. So that's something that I've learned too. And having these conversations, it's more obvious now that there has to be a lot of communication. I thought I was communicating to them by my actions, when in reality we have to verbally communicate them as well too.
Yeah, that's the key. If you don't communicate and they have to take a chance of exactly what even if the actions are, I don't know, if you bring him a glass of water or whatever, you do this gesture, but at the end of the day, you're not saying, you did this and it just made me a little bit unhappy. Or if we do this, maybe it will be beneficial for both of us. What do you think?
Yeah.
And then have that conversation and see where it goes. A lot of times what happens when you have that conversation, you'd be surprised that the other person was also looking to see how they can, express what their needs are, because there was a block there from both sides.
Yeah, see, so it's those blockages, and sometimes we call them childhood traumas or relationship traumas, and people don't want to say the word trauma because it's like I'm broken or there's something wrong with me. But in reality, we're just being conscious that there is a problem and we have to address something. And sometimes by communicating, we can heal a lot of the things. Like, I've never shared this out in the open, but I actually cut off the person that I thought was like the love of my life. I gave so much, I didn't get in return, and I felt that this person really didn't understand or grasp what she had. So I didn't feel valued, but I also didn't express that out. I felt that by expressing it, she would also have the upper hand. But I didn't even give her that benefit of the doubt, which was my mistake. But I'm learning from that. And I think it's because the conversations that we've had that has made me see a different side of it. I'm talking about a man's point of view, and now I see from a female's perspective, and being able to have those. It's almost like having like that happy dance. which is why we're doing this video now, because I've never shared anything out there about relationships, because people have asked me why I'm single and I've never really talked about it. But now I'm actually going deep on relationships, because relationships are very, very important in business and personal, and communication is key. And if we want to have healthy relationships, we have to have communication, you know. So what else do you want to share that's important, that somebody can actually grab something and say, oh my God, this was actually valuable for me?
I mean, prior to you coming here, I was just thinking about the clients that I have and the questions that they ask me. They want to know, who do I date?
Mm-hmm.
And what do I do?
Yeah.
So I put together a 2-page question that you ask yourself. It's based on Calling the One by Catherine Woodward Thomas. So I don't think we have time to go through it, but these are the questions that you can ask yourself prior to start dating. And it actually, I say it this way, that you make peace with yourself.
Yeah.
And whatever has happened in the past, you forgive yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's always 2% of the time that it's your fault.
Or more.
Or more. Why do we say 2%? So that 2% that you figured out what it is, then, you know, be kind to yourself, forgive yourself, and say, okay, from now on, these are the answers to these 8 questions prior to me starting to date.
Yeah.
And that's the time that you know what you want.
Yeah.
And the interesting, when you know what it is, then your energy changes. And what happens is that you bring people to your life based on those answers that you put down. Those are the needs that you want in a relationship, that you kind of comfort with yourself before you start dating.
Correct, yeah. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, because my last few relationships, I wanted to date and have certain relationships with obviously with females that were like me. So basically, I looked at myself and said, okay, so I am this way. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm trying to achieve in my life. These are the things that are important for me. And I need somebody that complements these things and that also has similar viewpoints and similar ambitions as I do, because if not, we're going to grow apart. Because if we're not growing together, we're definitely going to be growing apart. And that's something that I don't want to do. I want to grow with somebody. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to grow with you, I'm going to have fun with you. If I have fun with you, that means I want to grow with you. And I need to have both things together. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I did have that, but the communication was really what killed it. Because it's almost like we were both afraid to communicate something. And the lack of communication in reality is really was killed most of my last few relationships that I've had and friendships that I've had, is the lack of communication. Because I think we're afraid to talk about the things that are important. And some people feel like they're weak. In reality, we're not weak. Vice versa, male and female, we're not weak. It's just that you have to communicate your wants, needs, and one of the things that you're not going to compromise, which is exactly what you just said. And it's funny, by having these conversations, what comes up, and now you're exposing yourself to everything that you should have been communicating, especially if you care about these individuals. Yeah. So this is what I'm learning from her, and not only learning from her, but me talking about it, bringing it out in the open. I'm also catching myself like, I knew this stuff, but because I didn't talk about it, guess what? Your brain's not hearing it, your heart's not hearing it, and here we are, miserable. You think you're happy by yourselves, but in reality, you're happy separated. In reality, you should be happy together. So I hope that makes sense to you guys, because it makes a lot of sense to me. And I'm actually enjoying having this conversation. The last person, or the last couple of clients that you've had, what has, other than who should they date, what has been some other things that they were dealing with that kind of stood out to you?
Recently, I have had a few younger generation in their 20s
Wow.
And the interesting part was that one of them was talking about how the interaction between him and the woman was mostly on text, and he doesn't like that because of this, and he was kind of what we just said. I mean, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're 20 or if you're 70. So he was saying that I said, did you tell her that you will rather meet her for coffee or have lunch or dinner or something, or go for a walk than texting all the time? And he said no. And I said, so
he didn't communicate it.
No, he did not. So, and one thing is because they're afraid. The fear that to get rejected from somebody that you like. But then at the end of the day, let's say 5 months, 6 months, a year, 2 weeks pass, and you still don't have that interaction that is ideal for you, that makes you connect with that person. So it's best to, if the other person is not in the same I guess connection wise that you want, then it's best not to have that relationship.
Now, on what you said that he didn't communicate, probably because he feared of getting turned down, right? Rejection. If there's any guys out there watching this, especially the young ones, don't be afraid of rejection, because rejection is only redirection. So if these individuals don't want to be part of the kind of communication that you want to have, the way it starts at the beginning is the way it's going to end at the end. So if they don't want to see you now, if they don't want to communicate now, they're not going to want to communicate you 5 years, 10 years down the line when you already have kids together. The way it starts is the way it always finishes. These are red flags. So don't be afraid of being rejected, because like I said, rejection is redirection. Just move on to somebody else.
Yeah, so that's why the key is to ask yourself a question. What are my needs? If your need is to see the person 3 times a week, then that's your need.
Exactly.
If you need to see the person every other week, then that's your need. So find someone, or I guess interact with someone who they want the same thing. Because if you want to see someone every day and the other person doesn't wants to see you like once a week, then it's not going to work, because you always will be in the space of, oh my God, I'm alone, I'm lonely.
I'm gonna show you a great story and a funny story.
Okay.
So I have females that reach out to me sometimes in the last few years. They're from out of the area and they want to meet me. They say they want to date me, right? And I'm like, you know what? If I can't see you and touch you, I can't be in a relationship with you. And I'm sure as heck is not going to go 4 hours or another country or another state to date or see somebody. I'm not doing that. So if I don't have somebody that I can have access to, because that's my need, I want to have a relationship with somebody that I can be around. If you can't be around an individual, why would you want to have a relationship with that? That makes no sense. I don't believe in long distance relationships ever. I've never have.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. So if I'm ever dating somebody, talking to somebody, or seeing somebody, and somebody moves out far away, it's better just to end it as friends, because long distance relationships don't work. Believe me, I've been there before and it doesn't work.
I mean, it's for people who,
get on a jet and fly and get there in 20 minutes.
Maybe for some people it works because their need is not to see that person in person frequently.
Okay, but if you don't want to see somebody frequently, that means you're not into the person. You're not into them. That means you don't love them. You don't care about them. Because when it comes down to it, when you really love somebody, care for them, you want to be with them all the time. You want to get that hug. You want to touch them and see that they're real. You're not making it up in your mind.
That's George's needs.
That's my need. I need to hug somebody. I need to be around somebody. That's my need. And I can't go against that, because if I do, I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to be grouchy because I know my need. I gotta be around the person that I care about.
Yeah.
I just have to.
Yeah.
You know, but that was really interesting. You know, having a lot of fun. Hope you guys are having fun watching this video. Hope you guys get a chance to see this video.
We're gonna do some more. Maybe.
Oh, we're gonna do a lot more videos because relationships are a very juicy subject. And I'll be honest, a lot of you guys out there and girls are dating the wrong person. You date just to date. You don't date because you care about somebody. You just care because you want somebody. I'm different. I date or I go out with, I see people because I actually care about the individual. I want to grow with the individual. I see a future with the individual. I don't want to waste time. Why would I waste my most precious years, or even you as a female? Why should you waste your best years of your life with somebody you don't even care about? What's going to happen in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years? We're getting older. Things start to sag. You start losing your hair. You know, your hair is all messed up or whatever. To give somebody your good years to somebody you don't care about? That's like the worst thing we can do. And the reason I say this and the reason I bring it up is because I know people, you know, that are in that position, and I'm like, wow, you gave away your best years of your life to someone that never deserved you in the first place. And here they are single again. And that's not, I mean, I understand that if you didn't catch it and grasp it, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But when you're exposed to all these things and you choose to still be with the individual and give your best years.
But George, you know what? Unfortunately, when people, including myself, when you're in that relationship, there are some aspects that you don't want to lose the person, you don't want to be alone. There is a lot of reasons that you stay in that space. The only way to be conscious, to understand from the beginning what your needs are, and you communicate it and see. I mean, even that, I don't know, 5 times you go out, you can tell the person, you know, I like to see you 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I would like to, I don't know, live in this area. There's stuff that you like, and this is like, these are there's no compromise about it. Then you just say it at the beginning.
Yeah.
And just don't waste any of your time, because you know what you want.
And that being said, for the young people that are watching this right now, because I know it's going to be a lot of people watching that's really young, be careful who you commit yourself and then have children with, because you may be having children with the wrong individual, and that's going to carry on into your children. So don't just think about yourself and your own personal needs. Think about, do I really want to have a child with this individual, and are these the characteristics that I want my own child to have, whether if it's a boy or a girl? Because there's a lot of damaged and traumatized children that become adults that we end up dating that are so messed up that we have to turn away because they don't fit our needs. Now they're going to be miserable and lonely for a long time because it's going to be hard for them to find their match, right? Because they're going to see past the good woman. They're going to see past the good man. And you're going to end up with something worse that they even gave birth to them. I know that's a subject that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but it has to be said.
We'll talk about it sometime.
This is going to be for another video. But thank you so much for watching this video. It's been very fun for me. I hope I didn't aggravate you too much, because I knew it was going to get a little heated. But thank you for watching. Is there a final thought that you want to say before we end this video now?
Just don't dwell on the past. Make sure that
I'm guilty of that.
That you bring yourself out of that space. I know sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
I understand. But the key is to look at today.
Yeah.
And the future that the healthy, loving future that you can build for yourself. I'd be happy to send anybody who's interested the 2 pages. And I also, should I say, I offer the 30-minute.
Absolutely. This is why we're here. We want to make a difference, you know.
I offer a 30-minute complimentary Zoom call. If you have any questions, be happy to.
And if you're looking to get inspired, motivated, like I said, I am the author of a book called Answer the Call. Answer the Call is about finding your gifts, your talents, and your life's purpose. And some people feel that they don't have a gift, but if you have a story, the story is your gift. Okay? So if you guys need any help, any kind of mentoring or coaching, or have questions, just reach out. Whether you see this video on her account or see this video on my account, the information is going to be below this video. So we'll see you guys on the next video.
Thank you.